It's not in the final days of Black History Month, man. Can someone please explain to me how Jonathan Majors gone from King the Conqueror to Rocket the Raccoon?
Well, folks, you may have seen this rumor that we here at Daily Wire are working with Jonathan Majors on a new movie. And that rumor is absolutely true.
A foreign man in a foreign land. We talking about this man right here that is make me scratch the roof of my mouth. And not just because he was out here embodying his Creed character by basically abusing Jabari, but because in the words of Bell and Sebastian, it could have been a brilliant career. Not Michael B. Jordan's tether, bro. Y'all are mad. And now, almost a year to the date, he has found yet another way to irritate my bowels once again.
Well, folks, you may have seen this rumor that we here at Daily Wire are working with Jonathan Majors on a new movie. And that rumor is absolutely true. Yeah, I know. There are a lot of people on the left, on X, and they're very upset about this. There's lots of tweets. Okay, here's the deal, you whiny little bitches. We don't care, because Jonathan Majors was canceled all the way back in 2023. We are ecstatic to bring him back. He's unbelievably talented. And if you're upset now, wait until you see this film. Your heads are going to explode. Actually, maybe explode. It's pretty spectacular stuff that we're doing. That's what we do here at Daily Wire. We fight the fight. We need your help to continue to fight in the culture and to win.
Oh, shuck and jive, I'm gonna get on down and dance, I'm gonna shuck.
Jonathan Majors makes a movie comeback in Daily Wire Action Pick, filming this week in Carolina. I can't think of more coonery than shooting a film for the failed filmmaker, right-wing mandark, and self-proclaimed parchment for his wife Panani. Oh, God.
Yeah, put aside the empowerment. I understand how empowering it is for women to sing about the moisture state of their genitals. Either these women are suffering from bacterial vaginosis or a yeast infection, or my wife suggested most probably they are suffering from trichomonas.
And to film it in the antebellum South, then announce it in the last days of Black History Month. You got the CIA somersaulting, Reagan busting mothballs at this point. I had every intention to discuss how ableism and anti-blackness got married at the BAFTAs, right? And then, of course, this happened. But I think it actually adduces to the point that I wanted to make, which is that it's a systemic level of universal anti-blackness. And black folk were rightfully outraged at hearing a word that warrants our dehumanization being hurled at two of the most culturally prominent figures in media at the moment. The subtext of the situation is the renormalization of. You have Clavicular leveraging his casual usage of the N-word to fame. You are this gal whose whole claim to fame is saying the N-word in an apron. Shiloh Hendrix, who called an autistic black boy the N-word in a park and raised almost $1 million on a GoFundMe because she in fear for her life. John Davidson, the man with Tourette's that involuntarily said the N-word, was merely a pawn in this situation. We missing the forest for the tree. You see, white supremacy is about power, and power is only powerful when it's invisible. The goal of white supremacy is to get you to do the work for them. In other words, John Davidson, a man with a disability, is marginalized. He is of a marginalized class. Not in the same way as a black man, but marginalized nonetheless. Him saying the N-word as a result of his tics allows for the mission of white supremacy to be carried out without getting its hands dirty, because the white supremacy can be excused as disability. How do we know this? Because we know that the BAFTAs could have removed the N-word from the broadcast as requested by Warner Brothers, and they refused to do so. Other outbursts, like when someone said Free Palestine, that was removed. There was a 2-hour delay. The BAFTAs incident wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. There's even an irony in this right here. This was reported on Variety. This is the same Variety that got backlash for their reporting on Sinners in the first place. When they were talking about Christy with Swastika Sweeney here, Christy featuring Sweeney as the boxing trailblazer, Christy Martin debuted with $1.3 million R-rated sports drama. When they was talking about Sinners, they said Sinners has amassed $61 million in its global debut. It's a great result for an original R-rated horror film, yet the Warner Brothers release has a $90 million price tag before global marketing expenses, so profitability remains a ways away. When you look at this side by side, it is stark of a juxtaposition. And here they are talking about this right here. It's palpable irony. The same variety that laid their biases bare in how they reported on Sinners as a failure initially. And the BAFTA situation is similar to what happened with Moonlight at the Oscars. A very similarly humiliating situation where they mistakenly didn't call Moonlight and they called out La La Land instead. Every time there is a black success, there's a backlash. Freudian slip. It's the Obama effect. A black man in office means overcorrection. That means we get multiple Trump presidencies. Anytime anything black becomes successful is burnt down. Quite literally in regards to Black Wall Street. If you all don't know what Black Wall Street was, Tulsa Race Massacre. They tell black people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And when they do, they burn it down. There's plenty different instances of situations like this happening. Anytime when we even do abide by the very narrow structures that it's acceptable for black people to be in, they end up changing the rules anyway and just burning it down. All of this is the backdrop for Jonathan Majors and Ben Shapiro teasing a movie touted to be an anti-woke Sinners. Jonathan Majors, Michael B. Jordan, Daniel Kaluuya, these are black men who are all in the same conversation at one point. And now Majors has gone to the minors. I have a few questions with this. One is how? Like, how do you get here? Jonathan Majors, especially like 2020 to 2023, he was one of the most apparent black actors of our time. How do you get here? Cancel culture doesn't exist. The only concept of cancel culture that actually exists is that it's a rallying cry for support for people who practice ass. When Ben Shapiro says that Jonathan Majors was canceled, what he's doing here rhetorically, because he is a propagandist, after Goebbels himself, he's not speaking to us. He's speaking in dog whistles like Jonathan Majors was canceled. Because I'm telling you, the people that fund the Daily Wire do not know who Jonathan Majors is. So now they're going to care about Jonathan Majors the same way that they cared about Nikki for a second, because they are useful tokens to be spent. That being said, Jonathan Majors has undeniably had a change of course in his career after being found guilty for abusing Jabari. And I want to look at that as well. But I want to tackle it from a much more difficult and nuanced question, which is, what do we want from malefactors when they do harm? Do we want justice and restoration for the victims, or do we want the perpetrators to die? But first, how do we get here?
Do you open your arms to the fact that you have become the internet's boyfriend?
Well, as long as we have a great relationship, as long as we stay committed to each other, you know. He's Kang the Conqueror, but he can conquer me instead. Oh my God. My mama's gonna watch this. Jonathan Majors can rip me in half, and I thank him. Okay, I don't care. I'm Team Kang. That's me. He can light those Avengers asses the F up. I know I can put that together. I'm just so grateful to be alive at the same time as Jonathan Majors. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Wow. Welcome to the kingdom.
Welcome to the kingdom, indeed. The unfortunate irony of Majors saying he hopes his relationship with the internet is a great one whilst beating his gal behind closed doors. Even the name Kang sounds kind of wild. It reminded me immediately of like that era where people were talking about we was Kangs. That was old school 4chan racism. I promise you, no black person made this. It was a response to the Hotep stem, but that being who a man that has literal ancestral face. If civil rights was a person, like Dog will literally embody it. Like, I wouldn't put it past Disney actually. Disney is the same people responsible for Jim Crow. What's also ironic is Majors being casted as Kang actually got a bunch of backlash as being too woke. So the milk definitely curdled since, because he is now working with Ben Shapiro on an anti-woke Sinners. But I can't underscore how big this was. The saying goes that movies make you famous and TV shows make you rich. Marvel would have meant both for Jonathan Majors. And it reminds me of something that I've been binging recently.
Will get kicked out of here. I'll never be able to act. I can't share the real me. The real me will get kicked out of here. I'll never be able to act again.
That's not true. The real you isn't your condition. The real you is the sum of everything you've experienced.
This is Marvel's Wonder Man, and I'm binging it right now, and it's great. I'm not gonna spoil it for you all, right? But why did Daniel Kaluuya disappear? Okay, I'm not gonna talk about this too long, but Daniel Kaluuya has fallen victim to a cult. Yeah, no, he's in a cult, and that's one of the reasons why you haven't seen him in a while. I'm hoping that like he gets out. Very ironic considering Get Out. He met a woman and now he's in a cult. I've been watching him since Skins. Y'all getting me off topic. Yaya, who is the protagonist right here, the parallels to Majors and Yaya is uncanny. They're around the same age. They both graduated Yale drama. They have a similar typecast, the typecast being the intersections that they could most believably portray. This could have genuinely been Major's career. But again, they went down different paths. Copyright, 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 copyright. Copyright, copyright, copyright. This is the last black man in San Francisco, which is where a lot of people first saw Majors, myself included. The movie is about gentrification. So essentially, Majors' character is trying to get his family homestead back after white folks have gentrified his neighborhood. And it dropped in 2019, I believe, and pissed off a lot of conservative pundits who naturally love the idea of gentrifying black neighborhoods. Because of the backlash, it indirectly made Majors this darling of the left alongside the fact that the man looks like civil rights himself. You almost assume his politics because of it. And I would argue that this is a trap that a lot of us fall for. We expect marginalized people to fall in line with their intersections politically. We wouldn't expect a queer person to hold conservative beliefs because if they had an iota of self-awareness, they would realize that the political party they're subscribing to doesn't want them alive. It's chickens for KFC. And I fall for this too. It also frustrates me when I encounter, for example, women who are very male-centered, dare I say, have ingested toxic amounts of patriarchy and misogyny. And I hate it because it puts me in this position where I can't advocate against your right to advocate for men like me to reduce you to being barefoot pregnant in the kitchen making me a sandwich. But ultimately, expecting marginalized people to politically align with their marginalization, it makes an ass out of you and me because not only may they not be in alignment politically, but to force it upon them infringes on their autonomy as well as making a monolith out of all of us as well. The left championing Majors as this progressive actor, which may mean that he gets more progressive acting roles, set him up to be held to a different standard than his other colleagues as well.
Tell me why the White House is white.
War of 1812. British soldiers put the executive branch to torch. Then later, when the slaves rebuilt it, they had to paint the walls white to cover up the burn marks.
Get your ass up! We gotta get the fuck out of here now!
Come on!
Let me try!
To further bolster his progressive black typecast, Majors did Lovecraft Country, which of course has a lot of parallels to Sinners in ways I won't spoil. But I know Majors had to be sick to be sidelined during one of the largest cultural renaissance events for the world, which is what Sinners was, because I'm sure somehow Majors would have been a part of it. Or even if he wasn't a part of it, he would have been lifted up by the sympathetic surge of black interest that Sinners created. The fact that Sinners was so successful allows for more doors, in theory, more doors to be opened for black actors, black art in general, original black IP, original black stories. I'd be remiss not to note that the Paramount's bid with Warner Brothers beating Netflix this week means many things for the film industry, but most applicably right here, Sinners does not happen under this cinematic oligarchy right now. I promise you. The deal that Coogler had for Sinners was already a nightmare for Warner Brothers because the deal he has grants him ownership of the film's rights, their licensing, merchandising for 25 years after its release, along with upfront creative control and first dollar gross. That don't happen. Hollywood did not like that. And keep in mind, that is the backdrop of what Majors and Shapiro are doing right here. Lovecraft Country was again showcasing Majors as this racially aware black man fighting against white supremacy. That's the subtext of this whole thing. So much like how Denzel don't kiss white women on screen, Majors had a particular expectation. Has Ben Shapiro ever had a successful movie? He's a failed filmmaker, point blank. All of them wanted to be playwrights. And mind you, who else was a playwright? Goebbels is literally a failed playwright. Oh God. Candace Owens was shaking ass. Candace Owens was shaking ass in music videos and rap music videos. She would then go on to vituperate gals shaking ass in rap music videos. I wouldn't call her a video vixen. The appearance was literally 2 seconds. Oh my God. My God, she ain't even getting no screen time. I'm fucking tired. She barely get any screen time. They treating her like the yellow starburst. They ain't even having frame. She had to be like SpongeBob pointing at the top of her hat like, see me there? All of these people, Ben Shapiro, all of them wanted to be media darlings' blood. But we are getting sidetracked viciously. Majors had a particular expectation, not only cinematically, but in his personal life.
It took the jury roughly 6 hours to find actor Jonathan Majors guilty of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari.
The sketch of his face, this is a serious thing that we are discussing. Sketch of his face looked like, is it Parker? Parker meme. Yes, this man. Oh God.
Prosecutors argued Majors had been psychologically and emotionally abusive to Jabari during the couple's relationship.
What are you doing right now? Period. This is period. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Do you really though, baby? Do you really?
Yes.
Then how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a plan? I would like to get to the point where your friends know what job I'm on and go, I think Grace is going to be out of commission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't. So, like,
No, do you understand that? Because that team, that unit, right? Grace has to be in a certain mindset to support Coretta Scott King.
Oh God. Dog. You telling a white woman to embody Coretta Scott King is the most heinous anti-black misogynoir on this side of the Mississippi. Mind you, Coretta Scott King went through hell. MLK was a pastor. You know, your MLKs, your Gandhis. Malcolm X put he right through hell. Malcolm X was a pimp, you know, to do all that. And then to tell your white girl, say, listen, you got a Coretta King up is absolutely diabolical. Malcolm X was a misogynist, okay? Like straight up, Malcolm X was an actual misogynist. I think he began to turn as he made his pilgrimage to Mecca, but make no mistake, when Malcolm X was a pimp, he hated women, dog. A lot of these fellas, them, were misogynists, hated gals, fought for the freedom and the liberation of black men.
You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama. Barack Obama's wife.
All of these are black women. Ask Angela Davis. Not only Angela Davis, ask Ida B. Wells, my lord. If Ida could have speak, I wish they had WhatsApp voice notes when Ida them was alive. Blood, Ida would have air out all of them on them. Ida B. Wells going up against with the man with the twirly mustache, the tinky white, talented 10th in them. What he name is, man? Double consciousness? Yeah, W.E. Du Bois. Sorry, no, not the boys, man. My bad. I think in the next one. I think in a T. Booker T, man. I slandered the boys for no reason. Damn, wrong black man, but he needed straight too. Ida B and WE had beef too. I was right. When you circle the block for the ops and you get the wrong op, but he's op nonetheless. When you spin the block on the ops and you get the wrong op, but the op deserved it, is wild.
I know, I'm not. I shouldn't have gone out. I'm sorry.
Let me just lay it out for you, right? I'm just gonna say this. My temper, my shit, my travel block, all that said, right? And I'm not saying I'm a great man, a great.
All because Shorty go and throw some ass in the club and come back wet. My boy say, look, you supposed to be my white girl. You ain't supposed to be being ratchet. And you out there being ratchet? What's going on? This ain't what I signed up for.
I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. That's real. I'm not being a dick about it. I didn't ask for it. I've worked, and that's the situation. The woman that supports me, that I support, that needs to be a great woman and make sacrifices the way that man is making for her and for them ultimately.
My boy say Sharia law.
2 nights ago, you did not do that. You did not do that.
I'm sorry.
Which took away from the plan. And the plan is everything.
Liberate the white gal them.
Oh, God.
Liberate the milk gal them, blood. He was found guilty for assaulting this woman, okay? There were multiple takes from the masses on Majors. You had the Ashi Association of Negroes clamoring with claims that this is yet another attempt to bring the black man down. We've heard this with Cosby. We've heard this with Diddy, even Tory, which yet again, they did this with Tory, and Tory don't have one song. Don't forget Robert. But the thing is, right, nihilistically speaking, if there was anybody to be like, damn, but the nigga did give us some bops, is Kelly. You remove R. Kelly from the musical lexicon, you remove some very essential music that without that, a whole lineage of music didn't happen. But nihilistically speaking, there is nothing that Tory has contributed to the musical canon at all. I was outside in 2016. I was there when everyone falls in love. I was out there. That song heavily relied on a sample. Tory had 1 or 2 songs, man. I was getting into arguments with niggas today. In big 2026, they're just like, but foreign, but Megan though. I was just like, bro, even if that was the case, you don't care about Tory Lanez. I know you don't. Name 3 sorry songs. Quick. You had academics still running the nanny mouth about Megan, this, Bigfoot, that, and I'm mad I gotta share the same planet, let alone the region of academics because he's Jamaican. Many black men, they don't like to talk about this, right? But many black men desired to see Majors. Let me get a picture of him real quick. That's not him. So many men desired to see Majors get away with abuse because they see themselves in Major. Mind you, they have absolutely no funds.
Oh, God.
They see him being held accountable for wrongdoing as a commentary on what society deems acceptable for men with far less means and status to do. Again, only difference between many average men and Epstein is means. If a lot of y'all brothers and uncles were given the opportunity to go to Epstein Island with the rich and famous to do nefarious deeds, they would be on the next thing smoking. Had Chris stuck up inside there, all of his teeth. You could see his back teeth, how hard he was smiling. Because the truth is, a lot of us don't have a problem with the oppressors. We don't have a problem with the abuse. We have a problem with the fact that we can't do it too. And the consequence of Majors being found guilty was years of probation as well as all of his Hollywood deals being dropped, including his deal with Marvel. This was Majors' dark night of the soul. He's done a crime and he has lost materially due to it. That's as close to a cancellation as you could get. But that doesn't mean that Majors was giving up. Because when he went on this redemption tour, he popped out with Megan Good.
I love you. I love you beyond all limit. With all my strength. With all my heart, I love you. I'm supposed to be the tough and strong.
Bro, everybody glazy. Everybody glazy. It must be hot.
And you done carried me so many nights. I love you. Through the fire.
I mean, as much as y'all want to say that y'all feel bad for Megan love it there, yeah? Black women being used as rags to launder the misdeeds of black men. Black women are often the healers of our communities. The world is built on the altruism of black women. One thing I need everybody to know about Megan is this is how she was raised. Her godfather was the notorious Jim Brown, a legendary abuser. And that is such a great point. Thank you very much for that, because we are taught to empathize with abusers. The uncomfortable truth is that a lot of our loved ones are also abusers. Think about like how women are growing up in households where mothers, their aunts, are priming them to be lambs for slaughter. A lot of y'all worst enemies sometimes is be them same aunts and cousins, bigger cousins, that is, you know, groom you up from the jump. They are tenderizing you. So it's very early on, you're conditioned to accept this as a man's nature. You expect a level of infidelity, abuse. In fact, I have heard so much as if he ain't beating on you, he don't love you. I have heard this from women I love. He don't really care about you if he ain't getting passionate to the point where like he want, you know, put his hands on you. I know these people, my lord. We will go through lengths to justify the love that we think we deserve. And that gets produced and disseminated at scale so that multiple people become inured to that as a real thing. Megan is a victim of the very thing that she will end up perpetuating, which is enabling and laundering Jonathan Majors' abuse. Because essentially what she is doing is aiding and abetting in his redemption.
You've mentioned Megan a few times.
Yeah.
We've seen her right by your side, going in and out of court throughout the whole trial.
Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship?
It's a miracle. She's an angel.
You realize that a lot of religious doctrine upholds this character arc where a man goes through perdition in order to get to salvation. And that's essentially what she might see a Jonathan Majors as doing, going through the valley of the shadows of death in order to get to salvation. Megan Good was one of the most desirable black women, or women in general, of the early 2000s. So even the most desirable woman by society's standards is not impervious to falling victim to the inculcation of what she's dealing with right here. Yeah, Keke Palmer, you know, she does good media too. Like Keke Palmer just did, apparently The Burbs is really good. Keke be doing this. She be right here chilling with DDG Light. We keep seeing this as a reoccurring thing. And Megan is no different.
She's held me down like a Coretta, you know?
So,
like a Coretta, you know? I'm so blessed.
Bro, I know Coretta gotta haunt this man. I know Coretta gotta haunt this man. Have to. Need to. Coretta might be one of the only black women that you know. How you have auditory evidence of you calling the white woman your Coretta and then calling Megan Good Coretta right afterwards? That's like using the same pet name for different names so you don't mix them up. Dog think he MLK.
The relationship is still fresh, but you know, I think I found her. Yeah.
The one.
I hope she just stick with me.
Only a couple months of them dating. Like if you look at the timelines when he was dealing with Jabari and then like all of a sudden Megan Good came up inside there. She was in here walking into trial with the man. At this point, on record, officially, they could have only been dealing with each other for a couple months. I think it's a deal breaker for me to be getting in a relationship with someone that got a trial pending. You going to court tomorrow for strangling your white girl? You want me? You want me to come into the court hand in hand with you? Foreign supposed to come with you into court? I don't understand the sequencing of words necessary to get one of the most desirable women of the early 2000s to not only date you officially, but also to go into court with you as you hope not to be found guilty for strangling your white ex. Personally, you might say yes to that. Juicy J can't. And he went on a whole redemption tour, of which Megan Good was one of the main accomplices for that. Spoiler, but I understand Sherry Shepherd no longer has a show. I don't wish misfortune on black women, but alas, I can't say that I'm bent up about this. Oh God. Ah, Lord.
My son moves through the world in a different way.
Yeah.
So to see you portray this character, it touched my heart. It just, so that's why I cried, because you so beautifully portrayed this man.
This man
who just moves through the world. Thank you.
This man had the handkerchief on deck. Oh God.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It really meant something to me watching that movie when I watched you.
This was his redemption tour, so this is like a layup at length.
How are you feeling in yourself? Do you feel like this is the new...
Jesus Christ, her vocal folds all fuck up. She sound like a pack of Rotmans.
How are you feeling in yourself? Do you feel like this is the new chapter for you now?
Yeah, absolutely do.
You know, so I'm this woke, right? The Cosby sweater, very intentional. You look warm. You look like you give good hugs. And yeah, trying to tap into nostalgia indeed. You look like he on different world. And Cosby sweater, of course, Cosby being one of the notable black malefactors.
You know, I absolutely feel like, I'm in a new space. You know, I feel in my body new. I was actually saying to my fiance a couple nights ago, I was like, I feel different. Like, I feel like
I don't for a second doubt that the expedition of their marriage wasn't purposeful. Not only to get in proximity to women, because again, Megan Good, that gal, for black men and black women. Also, marriage is one of the only moments in your life that you will be getting congratulations regardless of whatever you're going through. The next one is having a baby. So, how old is Megan? She's 44. Okay. You can. There is a lot of stigma and a lot of medical misinfo about folks having babies into their 40s, and they saying, oh, you can't do that, you have to have babies young and da-da-da-da-da. That's not true. But I'll say that a baby reveal would be the next thing. All of this is strategic. This on some, I could really seem like I know my anime, right? But I am definitely a poser. This just like to be Hero X. You see, I locked in? Yeah, dog. You see me? How they be manufacturing their dating lives and their courtships in order to get more likable with the general public. Same thing for this. You have Majors and Megan only officially dating for a couple of months, and all of a sudden, gal going hand in hand with him into court, doing interviews, all oily up like James Brown, crying in the corner. All of this is theater. He, for real, trying to go, I'm a good Christian black man who loves him some Jesus and traditional lifestyles things like marriage and kids. Give him a few months and he'll be back to doing anti-SJW talking. But exactly, and this is the reason why, like I say, that is actually not too weird for him to then turn around and feature in a Ben Shapiro produced film. When we jacket these people that we don't know, that have not given us any reason to think this, when we jacket them with politics that most align with their levels or their intersections of marginalization, we set ourselves up for failure as well as we set them up for failure too. Because one would argue that Jonathan Majors is always like this.
I was like, I feel different. Like, I feel like I'm a different person, you know, in a way. And she concurred. She said, yeah, from when we met to where we are now. And she walked through the 3 iterations of me that she's kind of experienced. And I walked through the 5 iterations of her that I've experienced, you know.
I keep having to say this, but on record, I've only been dating for less than a year. In 6 months, you've seen 5 iterations of whom? And yet again, all of this is religious parallels. Rebirth, renaissance. I'm a different person than the person that strangled the white gal. With all these iterations, they must be growing like the small dude, the small purple dude from Invincible. They experience time differently.
Art, the life, the movies, the family, the hardships, the struggling, the falling down, and trying to get back up, all of that, taking all of that and metabolizing all of that, and now turning to a group of people that I've expressed all this, my shortcomings and the traumas I have, you know, even things that, you know, aren't in the news, as it were, you know, expressing those things to them and then allowing them to help me, you know, do the work, you know.
The work would be whatever the gal you strangle says it to be. What I found most interesting about all of this is that despite this redemption tour, Majors still found it fit to go to Shapiro and make a Django Rechained. Even Megan Good ain't good enough to get you on a Tyler Perry type thing. No, you go on straight to Shapiro, who yet again, Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, and all of the other yam heads, I mean, we looked at Candace Owens, all of these other yam heads on the Daily Wire are failed filmmakers. They somehow were able to make compelling cinema. There's an alternative reality where we don't have to be subjected to Ben Shapiro role-playing a conservative Poindexter from Danny Phantom. I mean, Trump too. Trump wanted to be on Broadway as well. All of these folks, they wanted to be immortalized in film. Shapiro them have dreams of making the Daily Wire a right-wing Disney, which is wild because that insinuates that Disney is progressive at all, which we definitely don't know that to be the case. But the reason it hasn't worked is because conservative art has always sucked. It's always sucked. That's why they look to marginalized communities for art and then co-opt theirs. That's why you have Majors doing this type of foolishness. Throughout history, there's always been people that betrayed their brethren for the bag. Majors aligning himself with arguably the most prominent propaganda machines for the alt-right rhetoric right now. And this is during a conservative push to push us back to the back of the bus. I wouldn't be surprised if you have Majors voicing a character on PragerU next. It's sad and it's pathetic, but I know there are folks that will argue a quote that I always use, which is, The boy ousted from the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Now, I don't think that Majors is that boy, but it does give us the opportunity to discuss justice, because what is life after being cancelled? Are the people who get cancelled supposed to die? Is that what we want? An eye for an eye like Hammurabi. We have carceral mindsets of cancellations. We think in prisons and penal systems. Are we less interested in the restoration of victims and more interested in punishing perpetrators?